Summer has officially started and the final announcement for the Beyond update is now pretty much imminent. Hello Games should be dropping a release date any moment now, as well as the final reveal for the third pillar, which I'm super excited for. But until then, there are a ton of rumors, a lot of speculation, and a lot of data mined information to go over based on everything we know so far. So if you're also excited about that, a thumbs up would be super appreciated, and let's get over with what we can expect to see in the Beyond update in terms of features. Also, for those who are looking to find out more about No Man's Sky and other topics, then I suggest you guys checking out the awesome Amino app on Google Play or Apple Store. It seems it's blowing up at the moment. There are a ton of communities over there for almost anything you can imagine, almost any topic, any game, music style and whatnot. You can find it over there and there are tons of people in it. But the best part about it is that it also supports stories, kind of like how Instagram does it. You can create your own story or watch somebody else's, and you can do so from the Discoveries tab by tapping on the topic of your choice or by manually searching at the top. I also started covering No Man's Sky over there for those who want to check the latest info about the game in a much faster format compared to YouTube. So search for my profile over there at Craze Gaming or simply check out No Man's Sky story feed and you'll most probably find me over there as well. Also make sure you're following me over there so we can stay in touch. But with that being said and done, let's get back to our video. Coming up first, a year or so back and after lots of digging in the main files, a very dedicated No Man's Sky fan managed to data mine a couple of semi-working features that heavily hinted towards multi-tool and ship customization. It seems that sometimes between Atlas Rises and the next update, Hello Games was experimenting with a starship and multi-tool customizer, as significant parts of these features were already added in a semi-working condition within the game files. It wasn't anything too major, as the features clearly appear to not be fully finalized, but out of all of the features we ever explored, these would have been the ones in probably the most advanced state so far. Both the customization screens would be accessible with a little bit of modding, and it seems that the plan at the time was to do this exclusively through the space station terminals. There were already a few UI elements present as well as options for the colors, with the UI clearly indicating that several other subsections would be supported, and if Exocraft customization taught us anything, this would most probably include options for modular parts as well. I wouldn't fully exclude the possibility to see something similar to the modularity we see in other games, like for example Fallout 4 or Metro Exodus, though scaled back quite a little bit more. If you have been around the scene for a while, you know that multi-tool and ship customization was and is one of the game's most requested features, and Hello Games has a great track record of already listening and implementing player feedback. That is why I believe that this is going to be a major feature coming up, with early concepts of the game already showing a level of modularity that exists within the game's procedural generation. If you look at the in-game ships and tools, for example, you can really break them down into several main as well as secondary parts. The modularity already exists in the game, and the game randomly matches these parts and details that Hello Games has already created, so it would kind of make sense and be a natural step up to pull all of these options behind the UI and then let the players to choose them manually. So just imagine for a few seconds how much awesome it would be if you could just unlock or build new parts for your ships and multi-tool and then choose however you want to design these without having to rely on RNG spawns. If I were to place my bets, to be honest, I would say that there's a big chance that this is going to be on track for the Beyond update. Now moving on to number 2, sometimes after the next update got released, Hello Games came up with a player feedback survey to see exactly what their fanbase wants to see more of their game. It had a lot of questions in it, but probably the most relevant to our discussion is the one regarding features we would like to see being added in the game. This was one of the screenshots taken at the time, and with the exception of maybe 2 or 3 options, most of these were already addressed with previous updates, including Visions and the Abyss update. What's left is less than a handful of options, 2 of which are very specific to multiplayer, and this includes of course replacing all orbs with character models and creating much bigger player lobbies. Currently, in order to see somebody's other player model, you need to join their session or form a party with them. If you somehow stumble upon them randomly through the universe, you will still get to see their orbs and not the character model. Combine this with the fact that Hello Games' past announcement made it clear that online is going to be bigger than ever before, this is what I'm fully expecting to see in the Beyond update, as in much bigger player lobbies as well as fully rendered character models. Unlike of course what it was up until now with the orbs and everything, it was actually a combination option of orbs and fully rendered character models, so the online component is most probably going to deal with this as well. I do want to bring this one step further and even speculate more on the bit that says No Man's Sky, even though it's not going full MMO, it's going to have recognizable MMO features, and what this makes me think of is the option of having guilds, which not that many players explored in the past, but it kind of makes sense in the context of No Man's Sky Online. Hello Games announced that they want to make it easier for players to get together no matter what corner of the universe they are, and guilds just so happens to be right up their alley. If you're in a guild with somebody, you can communicate with them, you can see them in guild chat, you can see where they are currently in the universe, and I wouldn't completely rule out the possibility to even teleport to someone via the in-game guild system. Now with the same survey in mind, moving on to number 3, the only option left unexplored is the one about more depth and variety to NPCs. One of the most wanted features players like me always wanted was for NPCs to have more depth to them, and I'm not talking just about stuff like having different clothes or facial features, but also different behaviors like being fully controlled AI you could find randomly on planets. Several modders have already shown concepts of planetary NPCs or alien forms that, just like the players, could be given the freedom to roam the planets, make discoveries, document and scan creatures, maybe even fight them. And I would argue that this would do a great job at making the worlds of No Man's Sky appear so much more alive. I'm not talking full GTA in space or anything, but I would love to see an AI traveler exploring a random planet, then going back into his ship and then fly into space and do his thing over there. That would make the experience so much more believable and alive, and it would definitely be awesome, like just stumbling across random NPCs doing their thing. It would definitely be awesome to see them being a little bit more alive rather than just staying on their asses all day long. Another idea I see being explored many times within the fan base is the possibility of adding something that would resemble cities. I'm not fully expecting Star Wars level of mega cities with millions of NPCs or anything, as that would be unfeasible from a performance point of view, but more likely planetary alien colonies would definitely make sense, something very close to the number of NPCs we see on space stations, for example, except having them on planetary colonies, moving around, doing their thing, maybe even have a few vendors here and there, and have trading merchants or explorers come in and out of the colony either via ships or on foot. That would be definitely a sight to be seen, and the presence of cities is pretty much a long shot at the moment, but if and when actual cities or their equivalent gets added in the game, I think by then the game would be 100% feature complete and we could truly speak of a No Man's Sky 2.0. This brings me to number 5 and the one feature which saw the least number of upgrades despite being one of the most utilized in the game. I'm of course talking about the space itself, which outside of the few changes that it had over the years, like changes to lighting and planetary rendering, there's not much added to it, nothing, like it's pretty much the same as it's always been, which is insane if you think about the amount of time you spend in space. The two major areas I'm thinking here are of course real-time star system simulation, and this would of course include a fully rendered sun that you could like even go close to, with planets rotating around it in real time and not just another fake skybox. Currently there is a fake skybox in the game. You can definitely see a day and night cycle when you're on the planet's surface, but when you're going in space, well, that's all pretty much static. The funny part is that this already existed in the game prior to launch, but because of performance issues and because it caused player confusion, it ended up being removed. But with the newest Vulkan update and the other performance optimizations we had over the years, I think Beyond could be a good time to bring that back in the game. It would definitely be awesome. It's a little bit more simulation style, it kinda detracts from the arcade style of No Man's Sky, but it would definitely be awesome. This brings me to the second major part that I would be looking forward to, and that is of course bigger galactic conflicts. Warring factions engaged in large-scale battles was one of the huge features that were advertised back at E3 2016, I believe, but they were never truly delivered upon on the scale showed back then. With the advances that the game made in terms of player-created fleets, I think it would make sense to bring those fleets in some real-time combat. It would definitely be awesome, like having some really advanced intergalactic conflict conflict between all of the factions in the game, and that definitely sounds exciting. It would give you like more reasons to engage in fights outside of just, doing it for the sole purpose of purchasing a better freighter. Of course, there's a lot more we could discuss and add on this list, even with the game already exceeding all expectations. For example, there is a constant search for planetary and biome diversity, which has already happened several times in the past few years. Hello Games has always looked into making the universe of No Man's Sky more diverse. Players always wanted these features, so I would expect this to be a constant thing, not just specific to the Beyond update. The same goes for the number of threats in the game, both on planets as well as in space. For those thrill seekers, it would definitely make sense to see something more, dangerous on planets as well as in space. But again, if you have anything else in mind, don't hesitate to comment down below. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, a thumbs up would be super appreciated. Also subscribe to this channel and activate that notification bell for more awesome content, and I will see you guys next time, so peace out.